Avery, whose show is this? And we're live. Welcome everybody here to the Lakers Lounge podcast. I'm Anthony Irwin, joined on this fine Tuesday evening. We'll call it Tuesday evening. Yeah, it's evening your time, heading into night my time. By Harrison Fagan of SB Nation and Vox, and well, he's now a media overlord. So, I guess I have to be nice to him. Harrison, how you holding up?
I've been better. I unfortunately found out that I need double reconstructive surgery on both of my knees this morning.
Jesus.
I wanted to get your reaction live on the air.
I kind of feel bad. Oh no, it's April Fool's. Never mind. I don't care. Actually, you know what? I have both versions of the Today on the Show where one is exclamation mark list.
And you're taking away my exclamation mark?
So, depending on your vibes over the course of the show, you're so right now, because of the April Fool's joke, no exclamation mark.
Oh man, I'm gonna do my best. I'm gonna try and earn that back.
That's the high level production we have here in the Lakers Lounge. Today on the show, we are recording this on an off day. And what that means is Harrison texted me earlier today. Yeah, well, Harrison texted me today because he was like, I texted him kind of later in the day than I normally do to schedule out when we were going to record. And then I found out Avery had this after school program that I forgot about and went to pick her up when I didn't need to be there, and then was 2 minutes late before picking her up at. So the day has been kind of jumbled anyway. And Harrison texted me, "Hey, do you have any idea what we're going to be talking about?" And I was like, "Not really. It's Tuesday in April, so we'll figure out what we're talking about live on the air." And then right before we went live, I was like, "Ooh, all right, I got it. Top 5 teams that we're actually nervous to play or for the Lakers." And then because of the really cool story from last week, in which JJ Redick confirmed all of our claims over the years that teams are just miraculously seem to get healthier to play against the Lakers. And JJ Redick actually sicking his analytics department on that topic, I decided it would be fun for Harrison and I to figure out what dumb topics we would have analytics teams research if we had the ability to make an NBA analytics team research it. So that'll be the second half of the show. Quick reminder, please hit that subscribe button. Please hit that like button. Please hit all the good buttons. And if you're going to hit a down button, at least send Harrison an email on why. Don't send it to me because I don't care. But send it to Harrison so he can relay it.
Why are you setting me up for this? I don't. It's not my podcast.
So yeah, if you guys have notes and comments about the direction of the show and all that stuff, hit up Harrison at HM Fagan on
Set up a screener on my email inbox that just filters anything with Lakers Lounge in it to the trash.
All right, let's go ahead and dive on in though. The way that we're going to do this, because I think there's going to be a ton of overlap, we're just going to alternate here. We both put together top 5 lists. And depending on which order and stuff, we'll broach that subject when we get there. I also have a couple honorable mentions, and then we both put together a 1-team list of team that we are least worried about. So surely that won't piss off the internet if that makes the public airwaves. Harrison, I'll let you start. What is the we'll go in descending order. No, ascending order. What is the number 5 team that you would prefer the Lakers not play in a playoff series if they could possibly avoid it?
I'm going to go Mavericks. Just because I think
Is this another April Fool's thing?
Yeah,
Like,
that was another bit.
okay.
So I think my
Actually,
serious
there's a take there. I
there
think there's
is
a
a take.
take there.
No, it's like one of those things where it's like, yeah, like the rough outlines of a take are there. Like if the Mavs had not suffered an injury apocalypse in
Oh no,
addition
I
to
don't mean a
making like the
basketball
worst trade
take.
ever. Yeah,
I
yeah.
I think there's a karmic take there.
What is the karmic take? Why would the Lakers be afraid of them? Like, what did the Lakers do to them? But
it just feels like if ever there was going to be a Luka Ewing theory thing going on, that's how that would play out.
I
So
somehow I feel like the Mavericks have done more to accrue bad karma in the aftermath of that take
yeah.
of that trade than Luka has.
Well, that's true. That is objectively true. That the Mavericks not only trading their franchise player, but
Luka's
calling him
like,
a
yeah, I was
fat
heartbroken.
loser
I
on.
didn't expect to be traded, and they're like, yeah, that fat loser didn't even see it coming. Just another oversight on his part. Should have stayed on that grind set, been ready for anything.
Yeah. But like I don't know. I kind of feel like it would be that release. Like, we've had all this pent up energy in Dallas, right? You know, Dallas Mavericks fans. There was a literal protest. There
Would
was a
Dallas Mavericks
casket.
fans even be happy if their team beat the like? I feel like they'd be mad.
Oh
Like
my
it's like
god, that's a great question.
that's what I mean. Like they'd be cheering for the Lakers in that series.
It's probably true, actually. Man, but nothing has gone their way. So Dallas, please don't cheer for
Because
the
it's like,
Lakers this
I
year.
mean, truly, like that's the way Nico Harrison gets fired the fastest. Is if the team that you built to win now gets beat by the guy that you traded away in year one.
Yeah,
And
they
like I
should be
know,
rooting
again,
for it.
I know Kyrie's hurt. I know that it's like it's not the Mavs team that even like that Nico Harrison, you know, in his mind's eye was trying to build to be better than, you know, the previous Mavs team that he traded for it. So you know, you can't judge this team without Kyrie Irving. But I mean, you can, but
all right.
You know,
For the sake of the bit, I'll give you the exclamation point back. That
thank
was a
you.
good
I
bit.
appreciate
That was a
that.
good bit. All right, what's the number 5 team?
So Lakers fans are probably not going to like this one, but it's the Clippers, honestly.
All right, well, you lost your exclamation mark.
I'm going to earn it back. I promise. Just everyone bear with me here. I'm going to earn it back.
I didn't realize I had Michael Pina on the team on the show today. I had no idea.
So the Clippers have been really good.
They have
And
been.
they
Kawhi
also
looks incredible. Like
the Zoo thing again. I know the Lakers did well against him in the matchup that they played them post trade and did a good job containing him. I feel like that is the type of offensive rebounding threat, and this is going to be sort of a theme in my picks that of teams that I would be concerned to face if I were the Lakers, because I mean, really, the consistent theme of these 5 teams is that I do not trust Jackson Hayes. I do not, I just do not believe that that is a thing that is going to work in the playoffs. And so, you know, if I'm picking teams that I'm worried about, it's like which teams could best take advantage of Jackson Hayes. And, you know, the Clippers are on that list with Zubats. And, you know, our guy Zoo has become, you know, people are talking about him as like a fringe 3rd team all NBA guy, which, you know, I think you and I, even in our, you know, wildest mind's eye dreams, did not anticipate a world, you know, with young Zoo.
I don't even know if he's fringe. I think he makes it. Right?
He might make it. I've just heard people bring him up as like, hey, he should get a mention. He might make it. I've not dug into who I would have on my all NBA teams, but just the fact that you're not dismissing it out of hand shows how good of a season he has had. Yeah. And that's exactly the type of guy that I would be a little bit concerned about with Jackson Hayes. And
over the course of a series, especially, right?
Yeah.
Like, do you think that's the way that Jackson Hayes gets taken advantage of, or do you think it's by getting him into space and like playing him off of the court defensively so he can't help you offensively?
The answer is yes.
Yeah, it's probably true.
Yeah.
So all right, truth be told, I have the Clippers as an honorable mention. Kawhi looking the way that he does is truly terrifying. I watched him. He had a breakaway dunk I think they played yesterday that I just kind of got a quick glance at, and he actually turned the corner and then beat somebody to the basket in a foot race. And if you would have told me that he would look like that by the end of the season, given how he looked earlier this year, where I would liken the way that he looked earlier this year to somebody playing on like a basketball court that has really bad traction, or playing with basketball shoes that have really poor traction, because he just clearly didn't trust his body, didn't trust his lower body.
Yeah.
He just was not moving very well earlier this year. Now he has like actual spring in his step. I hope he stays healthy, because I think the Clippers can really play, spoiler, hopefully for anybody other than the Lakers. But
I
yeah,
guess
I'm nervous about that aspect of it with Zubats. The thing that
the
I
context that I will add here is that this is not me saying that I would pick the Clippers over the Lakers in a
no,
series. The reality that I came across doing this exercise is there are actually very few teams that I fear. And so I was trying to, pick a fifth, and the Clippers ended up sort of getting that spot.
yeah,
But I think, again, like I would pick the Lakers over them in a series, to be absolutely clear for everyone. That they just
yeah,
are a matchup that I would be, I guess, like less enthused about on the list of matchups.
yeah. The Clippers are low key really thin at wing. And that is the one thing you do not want to be able to say when you're going up against Luka Doncic and LeBron James in the series. So,
You don't think Kawhi is like slapping the floor saying, "I got this" for 7 games against Luka?
man, I think by the end of that series, that knee will
Yeah,
just have said like, "Oh man, we're
yeah.
done here." Um, but yeah,
But
I hope
if they were going to beat the Lakers, like it would be in the first round. It would be when they're healthy, and you
yes,
can count
yeah.
on them actually making it through. And when they would, I think at least theoretically be in range to play the Lakers. I don't know. It seems I don't I got to look at the standings again. But,
If the Lakers jump up to the second seed, it's feasible. Um,
yeah,
if
so it's a pretty outside shot that I'm looking at the standings currently that they would face them in the first round, but that really is like I
But
think
that's the team though. Like
yeah.
if OKC sees the Clippers in the first round, that'll be a fascinating series to watch. That those two
That
teams match up really
I
well,
think
and
is the lower
storylines and
seed
all
that
that.
that would give them the most, like potential issues for sure.
Yeah,
As many potential
absolutely.
issues as you can give a team with like the best net rating ever.
Yeah, I wish I believed in OKC more than I do.
I
That'll
see.
come up in a
People
bit.
have swung so far against OKC, like with
That
like
you
not
find
believing in
yourself
them,
like,
that
guys, the
I
math.
found myself like feeling like I need to defend them a little bit, and
Yeah,
also it's like, are we really gonna act like this isn't the same thing that teams did with that Lakers again and again? I know Shea and like their top two are not
yeah,
the caliber of that
yeah,
LeBron AD top two, but I remember another team with Alex Caruso that was the number one seed that nobody really believed in and people were picking against, and they're like, I don't know, in the playoffs, who knows? And then
yeah.
you know that
That
guy's
was
a
a fun
playoff
team
winner.
to bet on. That Lakers team
Yeah.
was a fun team to bet on, because they had the odds were always so funny.
They may or may not make a cameo on my list later, but go ahead. I should let you get to number four.
My number five in this case is Minnesota. I don't know if Minnesota is anywhere on your
They
list,
were my
but
number four.
okay, cool, perfect. So
Yeah.
Minnesota, I think a lot of teams or a lot of people are sleeping on Minnesota. They are huge,
They have
and
been, and they've also been much better, to my view, in the second half of the season. They seem to have sort of like found a little bit of
yeah, oh,
chemistry that
absolutely.
definitely was missing in the first half after sort of like the fairly shocking trade.
Yeah, and but they're huge, they're physical, they have a ton of wing depth, they have versatile bigs, they have different types of bigs. Anthony Edwards is an absolute playoff performer. Like that's a team that people might look up and like after the first round and be like, "Oh shit." Uh like if or during the first round, they might jump up and win the first game against whoever they're playing. Those are my two picks to come out of the play-in are the Clippers in Minnesota. And if it's Minnesota, Houston, I would actually take Minnesota in that series.
I
I just
think I would too, but I just really don't believe in Houston. Houston is
yeah, it's
the
too young, too
Grizzlies from a
dumb.
couple of years ago to me, but
Mhm.
like worse. You know,
Yeah.
it's like with less top end talent.
Yeah, I think that's probably true. They're like a year or so away from being a year away. I
Which
would
is
say.
funny that Dylan Brooks was on both teams, but that
Well, he's
that
the
wasn't the
reason that like both teams
that
feel a
wasn't the
little
commonality that I was
confident.
actually drawing between them. It was just like,
Yeah,
they're tryhards a little bit, and it's
yeah.
like everybody tries hard in the playoffs.
But the thing that terrifies me about this Minnesota team is that if you play Rudy Gobert off of the court, they're just like, okay, we'll play Naz.
Well, that
Okay.
was the one reason that, it's like I almost didn't even put them on my list before ending up putting them fourth, just because I was like underwhelmed by a lot of the other competition, because it's just like the Luca Gobert factor. Like, I'm sorry, that man
That's
is
true.
never going to win a playoff series against Luca. Like,
Probably
I
true.
can't believe it in my life.
Yeah.
It's just, what have you seen of Rudy Gobert's life that makes you think that he's going to get that victory at some
Well,
point
but like if
over
he
the
gets
guy
played
who
off of the
seemingly
court,
takes more joy in torturing him than anyone else in the NBA. You
yeah.
know, I guess other than Draymond, it's like Luca or Draymond. Like, who is the bigger beef with Rudy? You know,
Should we kind of like as a quick aside, kind of talk about the aspects of teams that make us nervous, like the kind of makeup or the ingredients into the recipe of a team that would make us nervous?
yeah. I mean, I
Because
think we're
I
going to
think
touch
that's
on it as we go,
worthwhile.
but I think it's offensive rebounding ability
Mhm.
is concerning to me, and I think teams that have guys that can, hit tough contested shot mid range, like the sort of shots that the Lakers are a little bit designed to give up, like those are the ones that I'm most concerned about.
Yeah. I don't like teams with quick guards who can score at 3 levels. I don't like teams with a ton of athleticism on the wing who can just switch all of the Lakers' actions. And
See,
then, like you're
that
talking
that
about,
to me, with Luca, LeBron, and Austin, I'm less concerned about, because it's like no one has enough wings to switch all of those. At some point, the Lakers are going to be able to go duck hunting with those three guys on the
I
floor.
think OKC does.
Yeah,
OKC
maybe
definitely
OKC.
does.
Maybe, I mean,
And we'll
again,
like
they're
you
very
said,
high on my
we'll
list.
talk about that over
Yeah,
the
we'll
course of
talk about
the
OKC, but yeah.
All right, so who's your next team?
So number three for me, this one would be a potential finals matchup, but I still thought it bared including, was the Cavs.
Yep, I have them
Just
3 too.
because they have just, like, this is Sparta kick the Lakers down into a pit every single time they've played them this year.
Jesus.
And I know that they've looked a little bit less good in March. I sort of am less inclined to buy March swoons from teams that have looked that good all year. Who knows? Maybe they've hit a
March
wall,
is just
and
weird.
Donovan Mitchell isn't healthy, and maybe they really are falling apart. But I don't know. From what I've seen of them versus the Lakers, I've seen enough to be like, yeah, I wouldn't really want to face that team in the postseason.
Yeah, they
That
have
this
a
is the
lot of
first
those
one where I
ingredients
would
that we
pick
talked
against
about.
the Lakers in the series.
The wing element of it, them trading for DeAndre Hunter, I think, is a really underrated move, specifically for their matchup against the Lakers, their matchup against the Celtics. Just having as many wings as they have really matters. You have an absolute playoff killer in Donovan Mitchell. He has been incredible every single time he's had an opportunity in the playoffs. Evan Mobley and Jared Allen. Jared Allen tends to fade in the postseason, and we'll see how Mobley fares this year.
Infamously, the subject
Yeah,
of
like the lights were
the lights were
brighter.
brighter than I expected Bleacher Report quote graphic that, like, altered the trajectory of his career potentially for
Yeah,
a
yeah.
year.
That aspect of it, I guess we could talk about that, but yeah, the damage that Donovan Mitchell could do to the Lakers guards, and the damage that, I mean, Garland is kind of a playoff fraud too. He doesn't have the best track record in those spots. Like I remember
I think
when,
fraud is strong. I think we can say dropper for right now. I think fraud, given the strength of their rosters and their coaching and his injury issues last year and
yeah,
whatever. Like, he's
can we say like fraud Jason?
legacy on the line this
Okay,
postseason.
all
Okay.
right. I'm going with fraud Jason just because I like
Yeah.
that term. All right, my
Pretty good.
next team here at number 2 is Denver. I have Denver second, and my reason being here is linked to every scary movie we have ever watched ever. In that, I will believe that Jason is dead when I see his rotting and mutilated corpse.
That's what Steve Kerr said during the Olympics. He's like, I got to keep him on the bench. I will believe that he is dead when he is dead.
I like that. Did you see the shot that Jokic made the other day?
Yes.
You had to. It went crazy viral.
No, of course. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you watch basketball?
Yeah, he had it was also the pass last week that he had, the like behind the back one to like Aaron Gordon that was like, again, it's like it was like a Magic Johnson-esque feed.
Yeah. It like the Magic meme feed, right? It was like, woo, you know, but he I don't know. I just picture him making that shot 37 times against the Lakers, and and I would much rather, and it's also a very simple take, right? I would like to avoid the best player in the world if at all possible. We saw what LeBron was able to do as the best player in the world, and how he was basically a one-way ticket to the finals every year for a long time. And I don't think there's the same gap between Jokic and the rest of the league as there was
Jokic
between.
Also doesn't play in the East.
Yeah, there's that. You know? But I
like
also
if Jokic was in the East, he would have been walking to like if Jokic was on the Celtics, you know, like he would have been walk into the finals every year.
I'd rather not think about that.
Yeah.
But the
Celtics fans would be too powerful if they had Jokic. Like they get chesty enough about like Porzingis, you know.
Yeah,
they can't be allowed to have Jokic.
But the my point also is that Jokic is the best player in the world, but the gap between him and whoever you have at number 2 is a lot smaller than the gap between LeBron and whoever was number 2 when he was the best player in the world.
Like who was the second best player in the East?
No, that's his second favorite son. Or third now.
Like
but
Kyle Lowry.
Apparently, I found out that that Toronto Raptors fans really hate the LeBronto jokes and him being the father.
I can't imagine why. You know,
but it's also like you also have to just kind of tip your cap to the reality. You know, like it
I mean, you didn't like the Mike Malone Lakers daddy thing. Neither of us did. So
yeah, it's true.
You know,
I'm happy that did you see him the other day make that like whine about how Minnesota plays harder against him and the Nuggets than against any other team? Did you see that?
So I was going to leave this. Nuggets did not make my list. They scream cooked to me this year. I think like I honestly I think they're going to fire Mike Malone this offseason. Like it just feels like, this is again, this is not like insider reporting.
No, I know that's crazy.
Like, this is totally vibes based, but this is like, again, like where they've had to like reconstruct their roster to like try and get him to just force him to play the young guys that the front office wants. And, I think he's being, exposed a little bit, without Darvin Ham to go up against.
I was anticipating he's being exposed without Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, or he's being exposed without the best lineup in the league. No, it's like the fact that the Lakers deploy Darvin Ham. That's the reason. You know what, Harrison? For that alone, for that comment right there. Look at this. Boom.
I told you it was coming back. I told you. I called my shot. I said, I know that there's going to be a point later in the show where I win you and the fans back.
All right. So that would mean you're in charge of number 2 here. So no, I was in charge of number 2. So you're in charge of number 1. Who's number 1 on your list?
The Thunder. For the reasons that we sort of have started alluding to, already throughout the show, is just like it's funny because I remember, and I've talked about this, like the last couple years, you and I were very much like, the Lakers would destroy the Thunder in a series. Like I'm not that worried about that matchup in a series, but the Thunder are not only better this year, but they've gotten better at the specific things that the Lakers are less good at now post Anthony Davis. And, Hartenstein is exactly the type of big big that I would be concerned is going to give them fits, where he's not a guy who needs the ball. So he's not a guy who's like prone to sort of like like we can front him, we can disrupt him this way, we can sort of like try and make him a passer and all this stuff. Like he is just going to be throwing himself kamikaze style at the offensive glass and trying to reward like the Thunder on a few possessions where Shea misses. And, again, Shea is exactly the type of guard that you were describing earlier, that I'm describing earlier, like a guy who can get into the mid-range, guy who can draw fouls. Again, the whistle will probably like quiet a little bit in the playoffs, but he's still going to get some calls. And I do think that the Lakers, don't have a ton of guys that I would feel great about putting on him in a playoff series for extended stretches. And so they would, and again, it's just like I just feel like the Alex Caruso beats the Lakers, several years after they like cheaped out on him thing, just like feels like the type of thing that would happen to me and that you would get really mad about over the course of the offseason. It's like Alex Caruso hits a buzzer beater to like win.
I would send one tweet about it. Yeah, I would send one tweet about it during that series, and everybody would act as if I'm bringing it up all the time.
And then you would talk about it all offseason. In every single show, you would bring up how the Lakers could have had, Alex Caruso really took their lunch. Could have had that guy on their team, but they decided not to.
I did actually mention it yesterday.
So there you go.
Here's my thing though, Harrison. I'm not disagreeing with anything that you're saying. And the way that I kind of phrase it when I talk about OKC isn't that I'm not afraid of OKC, end of sentence there. My stance on OKC is I'm not as afraid of OKC as their statistical profile would indicate I should be. And I'm kind of like racking my brain as to why.
Yeah,
and
your contrarian urge is like fighting against the logic within your system.
Yeah, it's just like it's inside every man there's two wolves. And right now they are currently gnawing on the same chunk of steak that is this OKC team that legitimately confounds me. There's a lot to them there that they're going to have an MVP. I think Shea's going to win MVP this year. They ran laps around the rest of the West this year. They have this historical net rating that is just out of this world. That said, there are a couple of things that I don't think you want to be able to say about your team going up against the Lakers in a series. The number one thing on that list would be, I don't know if they'll score consistently enough. And I think that's how I kind of feel about OKC. Their offense, I think they would be one of the worst shooting title teams.
If the Lakers don't lock back in, they're going to be scoring pretty easily, on
That's true. That's true.
I expect the Lakers' defensive effort to be a little higher than it's been the last couple games. And also they're going to be less tired, frankly, probably, than like when they played like 18 games in 25 days or whatever their last stretch was.
I think it was 18 games in 15 days. I'd have to check my math there, but it felt like it. It's bad when I turn on the TV and there's the Lakers sitting right there, and Jen goes, "Oh fuck, they're playing again." Like
that was my reaction when Mia was like, "Yeah, I got to go into work tonight." I'm like, "Oh, really? They're scheduling you on an off?" She's like, "No, the Lakers play tonight."
Yeah. Yep. But
like again. Why?
What? Yeah, but yeah, I think OKC's offense, because they don't have a ton of shooters. Like they have Isaiah Joe, who shoots really, really well.
Yeah,
Shea obviously can get hot. He's good at basically everything. J-Dub is kind of hit or miss. It's just Caruso isn't really a playoff shooter. Like they're
Caruso's proven he's a playoff shooter. I don't know if he's a regular season shooter.
No, there were times even on those Lakers teams that he was a little reticent to shoot. So yeah, I like it, and if it just kind of boils down to a dogfight and it comes down to the final possessions and which team can generate an open look, the Lakers, that's actually where they're rather good is their ability to generate open looks.
It's probably one of their best qualities.
If
not their best.
And so if OKC gets one too many bad shooting nights, that series gets really, really tight against the Lakers. And the other thing too with OKC's defense, Pete and I talked about this too, either on or off camera. But OKC's defense is predicated on a ton of ball pressure. They get up in your jersey, they hand check like crazy, they fight around screens, they don't allow switches. They are just a very physical defensive team, but they're kind of small. They aren't like they aren't big and long like the Rockets are. They aren't big and long like Boston is, right, with the two J's. A lot of their guys are these defenders who get up into your knees and they just kind of make you really uncomfortable by playing that tight. LeBron and Luka aren't going to be bothered by that. And I'm really kind of curious how the Lakers offense would handle OKC's defense over the course of a 7-game series. I would also probably take OKC in that series.
No, you wouldn't. You'd pick the Lakers just because every bone in your body would be, as once you saw the amount of people picking OKC to sweep, you would not be able to resist saying like Lakers in 7, because you're going to it's going to get so stuck in your craw that people aren't giving the Lakers enough of a chance.
Any chance whatsoever.
Yeah. And so like you will end up picking them whether you believe it or not.
I hate how well you know me 10 years into doing this together.
Yeah,
it's really kind of annoying. All right, your honorable mentions. Do you have any?
No.
You had one of mine. You had the Clippers. How do you feel about the Warriors in this conversation?
So we skipped the Warriors were my number 2.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So we have roughly similar lists. The difference being I don't have the Warriors on my list and you don't have the Nuggets. And so we basically just that's a big difference. Or why are you so much more nervous about the Warriors?
I'm just always nervous about Steph. Like it's just, I know the Lakers have had some success over the last couple of years against him. It's just in a playoff series, that's not a guy I'm excited about having on the other side. And Jimmy, has proven to be a playoff killer. He basically took PTO half the year to charge up, and we've seen what he does when he doesn't do that. And so maybe this is the year Father Time sort of finally beats him, but I think I'd be worried about those two guys. It's like you're 1 and 2 in a playoff series. And they now have the balance between, they have like Draymond's defensive presence, and then they have like Steph being able to provide scoring punch from the outside, while Jimmy being able to provide scoring pressure at the rim in the exact sort of way that the Lakers may struggle with at times, given their current defensive makeup. They are the type of team that I would be a little bit concerned about. I'd still, again, like, I think like the only teams that I know for a fact I would pick right now over the Lakers on this list are the Thunder and Cavs. Like the Warriors, I would go back and forth.
Neither of us mentioned Boston.
Yeah, that was intentional on my part. I'm not scared of them.
Okay. All right.
I'm not admitting that on air. Come on, this is a Lakers podcast. We're not going to sit here and talk about, the Celtics are so good. People can listen to every national NBA pod if they want that,
I think it matters a lot more this year how healthy Kristaps Porzingis is.
Yeah, they're not on my list. I'm sorry. The Lakers wouldn't have to play them until the finals. Lakers, I think 1-1 against them this year. I'm not afraid.
Yeah. All right. I won't say where they are on my list, or even if they're at the top of it.
Yeah.
All right, let's go ahead and move on.
When Luka finally defeats Nico Harrison fully cosmically by winning the title by doing the Kobe playoff rondo on Drew Holiday and just mentally alphaing him, it's
no, I mean the idea that the final straw that broke Nico Harrison's back is that somehow apparently the Boston Celtics shut down Luka in that final series. By the way, he averaged 30 in the series.
Yeah, no,
Um,
Jaylen Brown shut him down, Anthony. I was told that's why he got Finals MVP. He took him out of the series despite the like 35 points a game or whatever. It's like again, I understand. It's like it's really like everybody the way people talked about Luka after that series versus the way people talked about Kyrie was like the flirting versus harassment meme. It's just
yeah,
like
I
Kyrie was
he had piss
horrendous
trickling down his
in that
leg the whole
in
series.
that series. And then
Yeah,
everybody's like, Nico Harrison's like, we need, the Kobe disciple and Kyrie. And it's like, Luka, can he really
yeah.
win on the biggest stage?
I mean, I guess time will tell, according to
I've always watched Kyrie's
Rick
career and been
Welts.
like, you know what? That's the guy I think you need to build as your 1A
Yeah,
around. It's gone
yeah.
well every time.
um, yeah. Let's move on. I don't want to say nice things about Boston. Let's move on. And again, the point of this aspect of the conversation here, Harrison's still sitting there with an exclamation mark because he also refused
I'm
to
going to
say
hold
nice
on to
things
it
about
until the end
Boston.
of the show.
Yeah. But the last week, JJ Redick was asked because John Morant was his hamstring miraculously healed
Oh,
after
wait, were we
the.
not gonna do least scared of?
Oh shit! Well, here's mine since we're talking about them anyway right now. Inadvertently, is the Memphis Grizzlies. They're the team that I am just not at all. I would, how sometimes you'll have teams kind of like tank to make sure they face a certain team. I'm kind of sort of against that in general, but if the Lakers had to do that against, to make sure they face somebody in the first round, it would be the Memphis Grizzlies. I think they are absolutely fraudulent. I think they're about to implode, and I think they're about to like trade away John Morant this offseason.
Let's just say I'm rooting for them to win games and hold on to that 5 seed. But but I think that's like the obvious answer, again, like Houston, not really that afraid of as we sort of got into. But mine was the Nuggets.
I as you were getting ready to say it, I was like, holy shit, he's gonna say Denver.
I'm just
Is this
saying,
trolling?
no, it's a little bit trolling, but it's
Okay.
also that the Lakers, they've beaten them now. They've gotten the monkey off their back. Like they have defeated sort of the paralysis demon that was sleeping on them, and it's Darvin Ham. And
Yeah.
now, like without like, I'm just saying, what's the Nuggets' record against the Lakers since D'Angelo Russell and Darvin Ham aren't here anymore? I'm just asking the question.
And Anthony Davis, but like also that too.
Nope. AD ducks the slander for me.
Did you see? These guys are my dudes. I love these guys a lot. But the coach's den. Did you see their playback at all?
No.
Where LeBron made 2 free throws late in that game yesterday. They were like, "We are not AD," and it's like, oh, that's so mean, but it's true.
Yeah, no, I too had all the faith in the world LeBron was going to hit both of those in the tight
man,
seconds of
him swishing both of them.
Yeah,
like,
I knew it was going to happen. I had zero doubt in my mind.
Maybe AD's like knee knobbliness in that moment, like kind of. Well, LeBron always has.
I was not looking up the Taylor Swift lyric quote graphic card of thinking about jumping off very tall somethings going into those free throws. That was not a thing I was doing.
Yeah. It's so nice that there are like aspects of or to Anthony Davis's game that I just don't have to pretend. Don't worry me. It's nice that I can move on and I can just say, yeah, that guy sucked at free throws in the fourth quarter.
You talked about the Grizzlies looking like they're ready to implode. Like I think the Nuggets are pretty close to there, and I also think Jamal Murray's insanity run is over. I think I'm gonna tempt the fates. The Lakers needed a big boy to defeat a big boy, and they got Luka now. I think it's like I'm not seeing Jokic look quite as effective since then. And again, it's like Mike Malone is the older brother that as soon as you learn how to play like the controls to the fighting game that he's playing against you, he starts unplugging your controller. Like he gets real mad when you're on even footing,
or like beating you. Beating you, not beating you in the game, but like beating you.
And I think the Lakers have the coaching advantage in that series. I'm going to say it.
It should be stated. I think both you and I are the oldest brothers in our families. Yeah. So in this case, we're both admitting to, like, I just admitted to beating my little brother.
No,
If he ever beat me and stuff.
I was
My youngest
competitive. I'm
brother
not.
randomly got like crazy good at Call of Duty to the point where I had to stop playing. I was like, this little fucking 7-year-old
No,
is
see, the thing
killing me
is
in this
like
game.
my brother that's next closest in age to me is only like a year and a half difference. So I didn't have like
Mm.
the older brother video game advantage or whatever. Like we were like the
Oh,
same generation.
yeah.
So yeah, it wasn't like that for me. But you
Yeah,
would
see,
see it like friends'
I'm
houses, like,
20
throwing Xbox
no.
controllers at like their younger siblings.
I'm
But,
13 years older than Alex, my youngest brother.
yeah.
And he was really effing good at Call of Duty. So good at one point that Andrew, the middle brother, who is 6.5 years younger than me, he would have his like high school basketball teammates bring their Xboxes to the house so that Alex could beat the game for them really quickly. And then they would have it unlocked for them when they got back home. So, like, when Alex and I would play in any of these games and he would just absolutely dog walk me, I had to beat him up. Like, it was the only way to make myself feel better.
My only option was to fight him. That's what Mike Malone's going to say after the series. It's like, why did you tackle JJ Redick into the stands? Had to make a
That's my
had to
only
take a
option.
stand.
Did you see that motherfucker call timeout?
You think I'm going to let my child beat me like this?
Darvin had no idea that he could call timeout. JJ Redick just stopped the run. What else am I supposed to do here, guys? I gotta fight him.
I'm just saying that like the coaching discrepancy between the two teams looks awfully different now that Michael Malone is not playing chess against someone who has their checkers board that they brought from home.
Yeah,
You know,
or it's like
tic
what
tac
other?
toe.
Yeah, thank you. Darvin Hang is
Darvin
playing
yells Connect
Hangman.
4.
Yeah, he's like, sorry, like.
It's like
All right,
rolling
let's
the
go
dice.
ahead. What things would we research? What things would we have our analytics department research? This again stemming from JJ Redick having his analytics department
This is so
look
good. I can't
look
believe
up.
I can't believe he did this and then also admitted to it. Incredible. I love him
And it
so
was
much.
true. Like, it's just
Yeah.
all of it.
Well,
So
he
for
wouldn't have admitted it
years,
if it wasn't true. He would not have
yeah, it
acknowledged
would
that
be
he sent
funny.
them on this analytics quest.
Lakers Twitter. I tried, guys. But so he has his analytics department look up, and this has actually also been proven on from other people on Twitter as well. But the health of teams and the health luck that some teams have over others, and the Lakers have consistently been at the bottom of that list. And apparently, JJ Redick found another way to define that these teams get their best players back
It was
for these
percentage of
big.
payroll available against the Lakers.
Yeah, and so all of these things point to this being true. But the biggest and most notable aspect of this is that JJ Redick actually had the Lakers analytics department look this up.
My new dream interview is interviewing the Lakers analytics department employee who is asked to figure out how much of like do players actually come back against us from injuries more.
Yeah. I also, if there's any carryover from coach to coach to coach, if there's like one person who's in charge of the analytics department and has been there for decades, in the way that the Lakers tend to have people there
Kurt
for
Ramison
decades.
is abacus. He's like,
Could
guys,
you imagine? Like, I want to know like the different things that like Byron Scott asked for, the different things that like
it has
Darvin
not
Ham
been the
asked
same
for,
people the entire time. Believe it or not, there's been some coaching staff changeover in the analytics departments with all the coaching staff tumult.
It would be so amazing.
Well, first of all, the Lakers did not. I am fairly certain that the Lakers did not have an analytics department under Byron Scott, or at the very least, for the analytics department's safety, they could not let Byron know where the office was.
No. Like, they had one. And Byron, if I remember this correctly, they had one, and Byron would ask for the sheets every day from these one sheets from the analytics department so that he could throw them away.
I feel like this is something that we made up as a bit that is not actually true. There's
I
no
don't know,
way.
man. I'm pretty
There's
sure we
no
wrote
way.
about this at Silver Screen.
There's no way.
Like, I'm pretty sure he would get that. He would get like a one sheet from the analytics department, and he would keep asking
He
for
just
it.
takes the sheet from them, and he's like, yeah, you know, I do have one question.
Don't
You ever been in a
care.
fist fight?
Kobe. Well, Kobe's sitting over.
There's no way this is true. I'm sorry.
Pretty sure it's true.
See, this is where I wish that we had like a live producer on here.
See, this is headcanon, though. At the very least, it's headcanon.
I want to believe it, but I don't think it's true.
All right. How about this? While you give the first thing that you would have your analytics team research, I will Google whether or not to try to find, to the best of my abilities, whether or not this is true. But what's the first thing?
Super producer for Odyssey, I believe that you will find this.
I'm no longer producing for Odyssey, so we're in trouble now.
Mine would be, or at least the first one. Which team? It's an extension of what JJ was having them do, and it's which teams have players come back the most against the Lakers. You know, because I want to, or like, you know, again, like as sort of a subhead within this, which players come back from injury the most frequently against the Lakers? Because I would like to name them and shame them for, you know, like their lack of competitive instinct, that they're like going to sit out other games to be like, yeah, you know, but this one's on national TV. I gotta show out for the brands.
That's true. That's that
like,
trend
which team is most treating the Lakers like their Super Bowl, you know?
Oh, I mean, it's Denver, but the one that
I think it's demonstrably. I think we've seen it's the Hornets. They were posting about their victory. I mean, I know they haven't had a lot of wins this year, so it's probably been tough for the social media team. But they were posting about that win over the Lakers, for like 2 weeks.
We have a headline here: Lakers expanding analytics department, which goes against how Byron Scott coaches. That's by dude. Drew wrote this one.
Oh man.
Go back. That's a long time ago. But the one that pissed me off was the Celtics resting all of their players in the game before they played against the Lakers, so they were like that much more fresh. That pissed me off so much in the fact that honestly, they were able to do that.
That one specifically, it's like I made fun of them for it, but I also respect that a little bit just because of the historic rivalry there, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I get it.
I appreciate that they took that game that seriously, and you know, like, and that it meant that much.
Yeah.
Like they're the one franchise that's allowed to, I think, in my mind.
So okay,
like,
so
it's a little corny. It's like it's a little corny. We can make fun of them, whatever. But like, it also like part of it was like, okay, yeah. I mean, it's still, you know, they get it. Joe Mazzulla
I was only angry about it because the Lakers couldn't do that.
Yeah,
it's like if the Lakers could have done it, I'd have been perfectly fine with both teams being that much more healthy. Bill Oram wrote this for the piece that we aggregated there. Coach Byron Scott has been especially resistant to analytics. Madsen provided Scott with a weekly rundown of advanced statistics. But in February, Scott said those numbers have never influenced the basketball decision. That's essentially it, dude.
Poor Mark Madsen. I forgot it was Mark Madsen, the nicest man in the world, sitting at his laptop, like, punching into like Excel spreadsheets on like, he's like, Byron, like our VORP is better when, you know, Jeremy Lin runs pick and rolls with Ed Davis, and Byron just like was like setting his laptop on fire in front of him.
I just pictured like,
oh, that's interesting. Can I see that? Computer grabs a hammer, just smashes the laptop.
No, I envision Mark Madsen putting together this one sheet and like, you know, making sure that the borders are absolutely right. It's this perfectly great like presentation. There's graphs and all that stuff, so it's colorful as well. And he puts so much time into it, and every single week he puts it on Byron Scott's desk, and Scott just like takes a torch to it and throws it in his ashtray. All right, mine
dropped it in the shredder. in front of him.
No, he makes Mark Madsen shred it.
He's like, Byron, I'm not going to do it again. I know that's the paper shredder and not your your folder for the analytics.
Yeah. My research topic, my first one is which referee hates us the most. I want that data.
What's funny is NBA teams have that data. I mean, I don't know if the Lakers do, but most teams do at this point.
No, but I would come out, like, I would have my team publicly release, like, this is the referee that jobs us the most.
I'm honestly surprised, like, Daryl Morey hasn't done that.
Or, like, shadow leaked it, like, laundered that information out and said, hey, just so you know, this is what our data says. Now it's John Goebel, apparently, is the guy that the Lakers have to keep an eye out for, because he apparently hates
he close
Luka
friends with the guy that Lakers fans helped retire, voluntarily. Eric Lewis. We're gonna find out, like, John Goebel is like Eric Lewis is like, he was like best man in his wedding.
No, John Goebel is the guy that the Mavericks fans all warned us about. It's like, oh shit, this game is against, you guys have Goebel refereeing this one.
I will say this with respect to Luka and Mavericks fans and Luka fans and whatever. I'm not going to say that refs should be allowed to be, like, unprofessional and, like, call the game differently based on whoever. It's just, I'm going to say, as a human being, I sort of get it sometimes. Like, it's the Luka stuff with the refs is a little much. Like, I kind of can't blame them if they take it a little personal. Like, it's certainly not the way to get calls.
Yeah. Well, it's the blatant F words directed.
It's like, man, I understand you got fouled, but you just said that about my grandma 10 minutes ago, you know?
Well, he's just like, he'll run up the court and he'll be looking at a referee after they miss a call, and you can clearly him say, oh, fuck you. It's just like, wow.
He's like staring them down after baskets. It's like, again, I'm not going to say that they shouldn't have to call the game fairly and call it evenly and call it the same way throughout, but they're humans. And it's not the way to go about it.
There's a reason I hate
Maybe
Jeremy
the analytics
Lin's
team can determine this. They can find out for Luka, like, his percentage of calls after he complains versus his percentage of calls after he compliments. And the compliment will be, like, extremely small sample size, but maybe they can sort of, finagle the numbers a little bit. All
right. Do you have a next topic?
Yeah, so do the Lakers actually play worse every time Anthony gets positive about them? I am going to force this poor Lakers analytics intern to go and listen to every episode of your podcast, or, like, have ChatGPT or OpenAI, like, listen to every episode, categorize your takes as positive or negative, and then, like, track the Lakers record after them to see if there actually is an Anthony Irwin jinx.
I think it's pretty objective at this point that there is a jinx there. You guys don't want me feeling good about the Lakers going into the postseason. So what we have to do between now and the beginning of the playoffs is find a reason for me to hate this team with the fire and passion of 1,000 suns. My next one here is logos, on-court logos, and how much bigger they have gotten since guys have started hitting quote-unquote logo threes. Because I swear to God,
this is like your most tinfoil hat theory take that I actually believe. Yeah, I think they're actually doing this.
I swear, whichever player is probably Stafford, maybe it was Trae Young, but they started making these deep threes, and they were like, and these Twitter accounts started sending so and so from the logo, and then since those tweets and those social media posts have gotten more and more popular, I swear all of these logos have become so ridiculous, so that somebody's taking, like, a foot on the line 3-pointer and their heel is on the logo line. And I swear they've gotten bigger.
I love the idea of the social media manager going to the GM as they're, like, going through, like, court design and approval processes. They're like, look, they're like, our analytics are so good on the account when guys hit threes from the logo. So what if the whole court was a logo? I think, what if the whole court was a logo? We just discovered the advent for the in-season tournament courts from Adam Silver.
Courts, yeah.
But every shot is a logo three.
No, what it is though is that, like, I think how this came to be is either younger owners or owners like grandchildren are on social media and they see these posts doing numbers and they're like, you know how we could get more of these posts? You know how we can make this player more popular? Let's make because the
Wait a
owners are the
second.
ones who has the
Wait a
final
second.
say.
Why is the Warriors logo half the court now?
See, but they don't have to. It's more
Yeah, they don't
teams
have
that
to.
like,
They're a bad example.
yeah,
It's
but
like
like, yeah,
why
it's
is the
teams.
Hornet half the court now?
I'm telling you, look at the size of that Hornet.
Yeah,
It's so big. All right,
that's what the Lakers doctor said when they saw Mark Williams' physical. But
he has an actual stinger lodged in his back. We cannot trade for this guy.
Yeah, he's actually got Hornets mentality. It's terminal.
He only plays well against the Lakers. He wouldn't play well for us.
So my next one is what is Mike Malone's playoff record in years he doesn't play against D'Angelo Russell and Darvin Ham?
That's a good one. That's really...
I mean, probably don't need the analytics team for that, but I would enjoy getting the printout. You know, I could probably look it up myself, but in the interest of delegation,
that would be a really fun stat muse post. It's like
having the intern print that out. It's one sheet of paper, literally. It's just
like if we were still in charge of Silver Screen, and we were still in Silver Screen was still posting tweets.
I still am.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like you and I still working on it together, and we actually had somebody posting non-article tweets for Silver Screen. That would 100% be a counter that we would have going. Is like, all right, here's Mike Malone. He has this record against Darvin Ham teams, and he has this record against non-Darvin Ham teams. Here's, these are the facts. You guys make up your own mind, your own minds. My next one here is this is a personal theory, but the percent increase in win percentage in games where a team banks in a three, and whether or not teams should start trying to bank in threes because of this increase in win percentage. Because I swear, every time I see a team bank in a three in a close game, that team is on like a 1,500 game winning streak.
It does feel like there's an intangible morale boost from that. It's like, oh, I got this to go. Like everybody's smiling, everybody's laughing, everybody gets a better mood. Like there probably is a real psychological component to that where you get a little bit of a boost, just from.
And there's a mathematical part.
Like I'm feeling good tonight. Like we got it going. That one went in.
Well, I think there's a mathematic aspect of it too.
Except Luka,
right?
It's he free points basketball for banking in when he was not telling it to, and then punts it at a ref.
He cusses out whoever designed the court. The basket should have been a foot back, so that would have been a swish instead. Do you have any more?
So I would, in a serious one, what is the Lakers' actual historic free throw differential, and is it statistically different than the rest of like NBA? I mean, maybe we'd go back to like, I don't know, like the 70s, I think the 80s, something like closer to the modern era about it. Like you could sort of throw like the 12-team league stats out probably, and maybe even you just say since like the 90s or something. Like what is their actual,
since like ratings have mattered. Right.
Yeah, since their actual historic, what is their actual historic free throw differential? And is it actually different than other teams over that time span? And is it like statistically significantly different from those other teams? Because I am so tired of like the cherry picked, like it's like, oh, like over the last 3 months, the Lakers are plus 200 on free throws. And then it's like, okay, but what were they before that? And it's like, well, if you do the whole year, that's about, even. And it's like, there's this context and, and then this was prompted by our friend of the show. I guess we can call him friend of the show, Pick Up Hoop. His tweet, the other night of like the Lakers free throw differential since the AD trade. And wouldn't you know, it's a lot worse since they traded AD for Luka Doncic, because it's Luka cannot get a call because he just said like words that would get you thrown in jail in like 7 countries at a referee.
And this one now.
And they also don't have Anthony Davis drawing a lot of fouls while also not fouling very much at the rim.
Yeah, I saw that tweet. Pick up hoop. I think they have a negative free throw differential, right?
They do.
Like
I believe it's like -5 or something.
yeah. Which
Again, it's a cherry picked stat, but it just shows like all of there's larger context at play in all of these trends.
yeah, like it's weird that two of the best
It's like, oh wow,
players.
I can't believe a team with Austin Reeves, LeBron James, and Anthony Davis shoots a lot more free throws than their opponents.
Well, hasn't LeBron like never fouled out of a game before?
I believe that is true. Yeah.
And then I think Anthony Davis almost never fouled out of games.
And you're also not really driving to the basket as much with Anthony Davis back there.
Yeah, it was always so self-explanatory, but like
Yeah.
God forbid we take context into account there. My last one here is the proof of correlation. This is a Stu Lance favorite, but the proof of correlation between a missed layup on one end and a made three on the other. That's his favorite. Every time a team one team misses a layup on one end and another team makes a three on the other, Stu Lance has to bring up it just feels like every time that a team misses a layup, they give up a three on the other end. And I want to know if it's actually true. It feels true because karmically you shouldn't be missing layups, Jared Vanderbilt. But like, but
I don't know that karma has anything to do with it. I think the man just doesn't make layups. I don't know. I don't think it's like Jared Vanderbilt is like kicking orphans as he walks to the game or whatever. Like I think he just has bad hands. Like
it's just crazy how bad he is at it.
Yeah, it's
like how is a professional basketball player bad at layups?
It's the one who was a point guard their whole career until the NBA.
Yeah, like how was he drafted as a point guard? Anywho, do you have any more?
Two more quick ones.
All right.
I would be curious, call it the Tim McMahon, corollary, but I would be curious, like, do refs that are under 6 feet tall actually call more technicals than the ones that are over 6 feet tall? Like, it's like percentage wise. I would be curious. I'd just be curious. And long time listeners will remember this one, but I would love to have somebody go back and actually track what was the Lakers' record in games where Timofey Mozgov got hit in the face. Because
did you see he was at the game?
Yeah, he's been in a couple games. I think he just like lives in Manhattan Beach, from what I've heard.
I want him to get hit in the face at one of these games that he attends.
It's going to be so crazy when he gets hit in the face and like the Lakers win a game 7 against
Boston.
OKC on their home court.
Yeah. No, yeah, that would be. I mean,
I think if it happens against Boston and they win the title, Jim Buss gets to ride on the parade float. Sorry. Like he I'm not saying bring him back. I'm not saying he gets a job back. He gets to be on the parade float. Okay.
Yeah. I think he would be anyway. And so still part owner.
No, he would not. I think he's like legally like not allowed within like 150 feet of like any like Lakers employees. Not actually like restraint, but Jeannie got like a restraining order on him from like not like a physical restraining order, but from like being involved in any Lakers business. And so even though he's like in the trust, and so I don't know if he's like actually like allowed on the float, probably, but I don't know.
Looks like Kuminga got hurt again. I'm telling you, man, the Warriors' health is actually kind of like it's not great. Gary Payton II hasn't been healthy in a long time. Won't be healthy for the playoffs.
I think he's done, isn't he? I thought he was done for the playoffs.
Well, it's a matter of like, can he play through it? He's gonna be hurt, but can he play through it? And then Kuminga now with a pelvic contusion, those things last a long time. Have you ever I mean, it's not a tailbone, but have you ever bruised your tailbone? That's one of the least comfortable injuries.
No, I feel like you're gonna jinx me into this now, but that's one of the few injuries.
No, you jinxed yourself into it, person. You said that you needed double knee replacement surgery at the very top of like. Given your health concerns, I would not be making.
Get hit by a car on my walk after this.
Please don't. All right. We have one super comment here that we will get to before the end of the show and after this.
That's what I said during my team rankings. I'm keeping that exclamation mark, baby.
It's still there. You got to finish strong, Harrison. Run through the tape. All right. Brandon Omeng writes, Vando can't play more than, I swear this was not planned. Jared Vanderbilt cannot play more than 10 to 15 minutes a game. He's a liability on offense, and his defense has not been where it should be. With him, Maxey gets reevaluated tomorrow. Wonder if we can use him as a backup center in that 10 to 15 minute role over Vando. I would be pretty surprised if Maxi Kleba plays any kind of a role on this team. However, what I will say is his reevaluation probably will have an impact on whether or not they convert one of Trey Jamison or Christian Coloco for the postseason. It's so funny the way that this is played out.
Alex Len just walking around the facility trying to trip Maxi Kleber to try and get his playoff checks.
No, he's been like walking around the corner. He's been like trying to. Alex Len has been to Christian Coloco what I was to my younger brother Alex, where it's like, you are clearly better than me and you cannot walk right. We need to fix this. But yeah, the Vando thing, man, it's such a bummer. His extension, for one thing, is looking absolutely brutal. Like, he's going to retire a Laker, but the
rude.
But his offense for a while there, like they were doing some things where he was handing the ball off, but teams literally run away from him when he has the basketball. Like they just, when he has it, it's like the way Kobe guarded Rondo in the finals,
but
where
like times like more disrespectful somehow.
Yeah. It's been crazy, and he's somehow gotten worse, Harrison, over the years.
I think he's in it. I think it's in his head at this point. How could it not be? You know, like you'd have to be pretty mentally strong to see the defenses that were getting played on him and not doubt yourself a little bit. You know?
Yeah, and
not
it's
everyone's
also
built for that. You know,
it's just a technique thing. Like his layup technique is really lacking. He actually shoots his layups the way kids do, where you know how when you're like growing up, there's like there's a stage where in your life where you shoot a layup, whereas eventually in life you're able to lay the ball down into the basket or lay the ball up with your hand underneath the ball. Vando actually shoots his layups, and it's the craziest thing. And for somebody as athletic, we know he's athletic. We know he can, he gets way up there for rebounds.
I do not understand how it doesn't convert into being able to dunk on guys.
I don't get it. It might be a rhythm thing. It might be like you're talking about a mental thing. But I actually, long story short here, I guess now long story long, I don't know that Vando will be able to play in the postseason.
He's gonna play, and but like I do think that his role is gonna end up being more limited than we would have hoped when things were going a little better for him on offense and the Lakers, it seemed. And again, you got to let JJ cook a little bit. He has figured some things out with this team over the course of the year, and maybe he figures something else out with Vando, where there's a way to sort of take advantage of that strategy. They've been pretty smart in sort of the way that they've been able to adjust to various teams this year and various strategies. So, I think we got to sort of keep an open mind on that. But yeah, I mean, right now it's not looking great. The Maxey thing, all of my gut tells me, given past Lakers injuries and everything like that, and given what he's coming back from, and that he was in like a walking boot for the last several, is telling me not to count on him and not to, really treat him as like a serious potential factor in this rotation. But given how badly this year has gone for the Mavericks, it does feel like Maxey coming back and shooting like 40% from three in the playoffs is like the way that this ends.
Yeah,
like Markieff Morris as a game winner at some point, in his last NBA shot. And
yeah, I think there's an outside chance he gets cleared tomorrow and is able to play over the last like week and a half or so that we have in the regular season. And look, the Lakers could really use a big body who can also space the floor. Everybody can, but
I think Lakers, if you talk to Mavericks fans and you look at his numbers over the last little while, he's more of a, in theory, floor spacer in recent times than an actual one.
Yeah, I think look,
every time I healthy, he can't stay healthy. Until proven otherwise.
Well, every time I think of Maxi Kleber as a shooter, it's him making that three in that game-winning three at the buzzer. But But it is, I'm with you that I think it is more of a theoretical thing. And look, the Lakers.
It would be great. Trust me, I would be thrilled if the Lakers had a viable spacing five small ball option at center that was not like LeBron or Rui, and they had like an alternate sort of option in
Yeah.
those respects. But and the theory of Maxey is great and would be like a nice dynamic for this team to add. But I just don't. I'm not going to count on it at all. And if
I
he does
wouldn't
come
either.
back, then great. That's awesome. But I'm not giving my.
It's just
Any
such a
hope
crazy ask. Hey, man, you haven't
Yeah.
played in months. Can you
You've never
ramp up
played
and
for this
play
team
playoff
before.
basketball? Yeah, you've
Yeah.
literally never worn this uniform before. Can you come back and play playoff basketball? Like, it's a difficult, it's a really tough ask, both physically and like conditioning wise and rhythm wise and all that stuff too. So
Your teammates don't all know your name yet, but can you come out here and
yeah,
hit some shots?
LeBron thinks you're Max Christie.
Yeah.
So
He keeps calling you Dalton, which is weird. Like you're not even really the same size. I don't.
Yeah. All right. That is going to do it here for this episode of the Lakers Lounge podcast. Again, please hit that subscribe button. Please hit that like button. Please hit that share button, all of that good stuff. And let's see. Tomorrow is another off day, so we'll have another guest in here to get you through tomorrow's episode. And then the Lakers are back in action against the Warriors, who might not have Kuminga in that game. The Warriors, I believe, right now are in overtime. I'll take a quick peek at that score.
I'll take a quick peek at the score at the end of my podcast to see where they're at.
Yeah,
they're
that
in the
is.
fourth quarter. There's 8 minutes left against Memphis, actually, who I didn't realize they were playing.
Yeah, so we'll see how that game goes. I will wait to record the lowdown until all of the games have been played so that we can go over standings watch then. So keep an eye or an ear out for that on your guys' RSS feeds. And until then, and until the next time you guys hear from us, I'm Anthony Irwin saying have a great rest of your day. Make somebody else's. Oh, wait, shoot. Harrison was also here. So
yeah, and I'm Harrison Fagan. So
yeah,
thanks for that. Of SB Nation.
It's not just Harrison Fagan. It's Harrison Fagan with
Harrison.
Harrison.
Yeah, earned it. Brought the heat on this episode.
We'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Thanks, Harrison.
Bye, everyone.